also some hidden rules in the Pancration Ring, including the one that you're not allowed to support both sides of a fight. Why is that?
I've been told that the infirmary is always empty for the half hour just before lunch. But what could Sijuin be doing during that time? Fanta's internal report suggests that they're starting a new trial of an unnamed and unpackaged product. But the product has to undergo a trial because even Fanta's own employees have a lot of... We often see Miss C... The Fanta promoter has been struggling. According to Collins, the Pancration tournament only took place because the Fanta company sponsored it. The company must want a return on their investment as well. The Fanta promoter has been struggling because we often see Miss C... Fanta's internal report suggests that they're starting a new trial of an unnamed and unpackaged product. But the Fanta promoter has been... The research notes said that the melusine... We often see Miss Sijuin... Fanta's internal report suggests that... The research notes said that the Fanta promoter has been struggling because he doesn't recognize the real value of coupons. Meanwhile, the Duke believes that only idiots who don't understand the value of coupons will spend them on Fanta. According to Collins, the Pancration the Fanta promoter has been
So there really was nothing to be afraid of. That hidden rule of the Pancration Ring is about how, people are not supposed to bet on both boxers at the same time. And if they do, they'll receive a package containing a strange, blood-colored liquid. People get scared when they see it because they've subconsciously begun to associate it with the missing boxer. But really, it's just a bottle of the latest yet-to-be-named and packaged new Fanta trial product. A blood-red drink. It's no wonder even Fanta's own staff were questioning the company's decision-making. The company, facing backlash from its own staff, decided to try to trial the product on a smaller scale to see how it might be received by customers. They came to the fortress of Meropide and offered to sponsor the Pancration tournament so they could push their new product. But the Duke completely refused to even entertain the idea. The Duke, knowing how valuable coupons are in the fortress, knew that only total idiots who didn't understand their true value would bother buying a Fanta product here. And so, only those who proved their stupidity by being dumb enough to bet on two opposing sides of the same match were selected to receive the drinks.
I acknowledge the effort you've put into bringing the truth of this mystery to light. Although, based on your description, that Fanta promoter is a bit too careless with his words, I may just reconsider my collaboration with the company. All right, and here's the final question. What's the secret behind our head nurse and all of her patients in the infirmary?
Stop your cruel and pointless games, Risley! You know that we haven't finished our investigation, so there's no way we can answer the last question! The thought of sparing Lynette and Fremine never even crossed your mind! You'll pay for this! Ah!
Lenny, are you alright?
Oh, close one. I owe you, Sijuin. That was a fantastic shot.
It was nothing, Your Grace.
Sijuin?
Though this gun may look like a toy, it's actually fully functional, as I just demonstrated.
Sijuin... You...
Not at all. I I am merely a resident of the fortress, and thus protecting it is my duty. When Monsieur Nervulette asked me to come here, he told me that my job would be to take care of the well-being of everyone here. I am merely discharging my duties.
But if you mean what you just said, then isn't Linny someone you should be looking after as well? Isn't he a resident here just like the rest of us?
But I really am just doing what Monsieur Nervulette told me to do. Everything I did, I've done to protect them. Had I not, they would be in far more dire straits right now. His Grace knows it too, right? Your Grace? Mind proving my innocence to them?
My dear Sigewinne, whatever shall I do with you? Would it have killed you to just wait another minute or two?
Well, it's nearly time after all. The way you do things can be truly frustrating sometimes, Your Grace. I figured I should try to talk some sense into you.
What are you talking about? What time?
Take me if you want, but let them go.
How touching. Can you just give me one more minute?
Don't be like that, Your Grace.
All right, everyone, calm down. 2 more visitors will be arriving any time now. I'll go get a cup of tea. Miss Sigewinne, I leave Miss Lynette in your care.
What are you doing?
I believe I hear footsteps.
Some space, please.
Ah, Miss Clarande. My door.
Fremine. Fremine!
What's going on? What is Clarande doing here?
Work.
I'm sorry about shooting you, Mr. Linny. The tranquilizing effect will begin to wear off soon. Please take it easy in the meantime, though.
What happened to Fremine? Wasn't he diving just outside of the fortress? Why is he looking like this?
A flushed face, an accelerated pulse. He must have consumed primordial seawater.
What did you say?
Please, make some space. I'll need to give Mr. Fremine a more thorough checkup. Your Grace, I'll leave the rest to you.
I'll talk to Clarande while you get Fremine to where he needs to be. Everything else can wait.
What's that look on your face? I thought I made good time on the way back.
Oh, I'm just admiring your punctuality. Had you arrived just a few minutes later, Sigewinne may have been forced to shoot Mr. Linny again. How's the situation out there?
The water has changed. It's pretty much as expected. The concentration of primordial seawater has increased significantly. I was only out there a short time, so it wasn't too bad. But if one were to stay for any significant amount of time, well, you can see how that boy's doing.
Where was he when you found him?
The abandoned zone at the end of the pipes. A good distance into the water.
Closer than I thought. He must have recognized it early on and tried desperately to swim back.
Locking the door was necessary. I don't think we could have saved 2.
Well, I did try to convince him that I had my reasons. Never seems to work, though.
It would probably work on Neuvillette. He has a knack for picking out who had good intentions, even when the outcomes were all terrible.
It's a bad sign if you're having to plead your case to Neuvillette. Want some tea?
Not particularly. If you want to drink some that badly, just say so.
Fine, I'd like to get some tea. Want me to get you a cup too, since I've already made it?
Might as well then, I suppose. Actually, do you have a towel? I would like to dry my hair.
These symptoms symptoms are probably caused by an acute ingestion of a large amount of primordial seawater. Still, his condition is not critical. Of course, it would be best if he stayed for further observation. Let's leave him here for now, and move him to the infirmary once he's recovered a bit more. Sorry. I am aware that the infirmary may not be your favorite place in the world at the moment. We do only have a single clinic in the fortress, however.
Why would he ingest a large amount of primordial seawater after leaving the fortress? How could that possibly happen?
Please, look after Mr. Fremine for the moment. I'll go fetch some medicine and a respirator. Oh, I'll bring Miss Lynette back with me.
Where is she? How is she right now?
Oh, she just took a nap in an empty room after I tranquilized her. If my calculations are correct, she should also be waking up right around now. You might not believe me, but His Grace and I actually made some snacks and tea for her.
Linny, are you okay?
I'll be fine. They're all here now. Don't worry about me.
Are you sure? You don't look alright.
My hands and feet are still a bit weak, but that's probably just the residual effects of the tranquilizer shot.
I'm back, everyone.
Lenny! Oh, Traveler, Paimon, you're here too. Fremine? Is he...
He'll be fine. But for now, please help me lift him up.
His breathing's beginning to slow down.
Give me a hand and help me get him to the infirmary.
Yeah, I'll take him from this side. Lynette, together?
On it.
Traveler, you seem pretty worried about him. Want to come with us?
The Duke and Clarande are gone.
They probably went to get some tea. The Duke will explain the truth in just a bit. Miss Clarande will need a break, since she only just returned from rescuing Fremine out of the sea.
Behold!
The wind rises.
Behold!
Over here!
Squall and fury! Behold!
He's awake. Fremine, how do you feel?
Linny... Lynette...
We're all here.
Where... am I?
The infirmary, at the Fortress of Meripede, Mr. Fremine, and you are no longer in any danger.
How do you feel? Don't push yourself if you're not feeling up to it.
Traveler... Paimon... It's been so long. The sea! There's something wrong with the seawater.
Shh, it's okay. We can talk about it after you've recovered.
No, listen to me. This is really serious. There's primordial seawater mixed into the regular seawater. I don't know why it's there, but no one should touch it. Right, the pipes. It's all coming back to me now. I'm in. Seems like this pipe hasn't been used in a long time. It looks abandoned. Where could Master Child be? This mechanism looks like it's been tampered with. Could he have done it? It's getting stuck on something. Seems like I'll have to avoid those obstacles while I turn it. This is where the water starts. Okay. Master Child probably dived into the water. I'll go take a look as well. The vegetation here is a bit more sparse. These traces aren't natural. A person must have left them, and recently. I should be going in the right direction. There are traces here too. I need to keep going. Huh? The traces are gone. But I don't see where he could have gone from here. Wait, what the? My heart is racing, and it's getting harder and harder to breathe. What's going on? No good. I have to get back. They still don't know anything about what's going on. If I turn back right now, I should still be able to make it. I can't die here. This is bad. I'm feeling worse and worse, and I'm still underwater. I have to push on.
So, in other words, the trail you were following vanished, and you had no idea where Master Child could have gone, but there was also no obvious place for him to have disappeared to.
That's right. I tried my best to swim back, but I had already put some distance between myself and the fortress, and I just couldn't find the strength to keep going. I probably passed out some time after that, and you know the rest.
Miss Clarand brought you back, but we also don't know why she just suddenly appeared at the fortress, or why she went out to save you.
Miss Clarand, you say? I must go thank her in person.
You're still too weak, Fremine. You can go after you've had some more rest.
Miss Lynette is right. I believe Miss Clarand will stay here as a guest for another few days, so there's no need to hurry.
A guest? Then I can assume Risley was the one who invited her to come down here?
You should ask His Grace about that. He'll be able to explain better than me.
Yeah, it's about time he actually told us what's going on. Wanna come with us, Lenny?
No, please go on without me. I don't want to leave just yet.
Lenny.
The logical part of my brain is aware that we're safe right now, but I still can't bring myself to leave. Both of you are just in danger.
Understood. Then let's just sit together for a while.
In that case, I'll leave the infirmary to you. The Traveler and I are going to head out for now. As long as you stay in here, I don't think you'll be disturbed.
Thank you. I'm so sorry, Lenny.
I'm also really sorry, Lenny. I should have been more careful.
Don't say that. It was all my fault. I was the one who should have been more careful. You two were nearly...
If I was stronger, maybe I would have already found Master Child.
No, how can you say that?
Huh?
I'm sorry.
What I'm hearing is, we all dropped the ball at some point during the mission, so the responsibility falls on all of us. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right. It's on all of us.
Lenny, we understand that you're worried about us, but we're worried about you as well. Please don't blame yourself. We want you to keep your spirits up.
Yeah.
Squall and Fury!
Excuse me!
I take it Mr. Fremine's condition has stabilized?
Of course! I wouldn't have left the infirmary otherwise.
I've been expecting those two, but might I inquire as to the purpose of your visit, Miss Siegewien?
I wanted to check up on Miss Clarand. How are you feeling?
Mostly fine, I think.
If you don't mind, I'd like to perform another quick physical exam. It'll just take a few minutes.
All right. Thank you for looking out for me. I'll take my leave for now, then.
Well, want to explain yourself, Risley?
Of course, but I'm not partial to the word choice of explain. How about enlighten? Where should I begin? How about you start by asking me any questions you have? You can start with whichever one you'd like to get answered the most.
Then Paimon will begin. Did you know about Lenny's goals from the very beginning?
No. I just knew they were Fatui operatives sent to the fortress by the Knave. As for their specific goals, I only figured those out as you made progress on your investigation.
You managed to monitor and stay ahead of them even though you didn't know what they were trying to do?
They came here with ulterior motives. I'm quite adept at discerning what that kind of behavior signals. Initially, I thought their goal was just to investigate Child's disappearance. Linny suggested that I had deliberately let him escape, but in truth, I didn't really do anything special to help or hinder him while he was here. Everything he did, from finding helpers to leaving this place, he did on his own. Of course, it's inevitable that the Knave would make a big deal out of her fellow Harbinger's unexplained disappearance. I'm also quite curious about where that Harbinger went. So I figured I might as well let the Fatui do their own investigative work. All I care about is the answer.
So you were hoping Lenny's group would just do your work for you?
You make it sound like that's a bad thing. Unfortunately, things didn't go as planned. I assume that Fremine has told you already, the ratio of primordial seawater around the fortress of Meripede is on the rise. The Forbidden Zone has always been Linny's target, and you got roped into that investigation after running into him. I began to intervene out of concern for your safety, and also to prevent the fortress from becoming entangled in more irksome matters.
Are the rumors true? That you're also a former criminal?
Now, why would you put it like that? Isn't staying here all day and serving as the manager of the fortress a kind of sentence unto itself? Another form of prison? I just happen to have some support from the rest of the inmates. That's all.
Oh, right. Paimon wanted to ask, who invited Cloran down here?
Me, of course. I paid her good mora to come down to the fortress for some field work. As a champion duelist, Miss Cloran could be considered to be an independent party. I needed to find an exceptionally capable person to help me get through the impending crisis.
And saving Fremine was part of that crisis?
You can think of it like that, yes. Credit where credit is due, that boy is quite adept at diving. Had conditions not been as hostile as they were, he probably would have found the missing Harbinger already. That's not something you should be asking after. Neuvillette only asked you to investigate Child's whereabouts. All I need to prove to you is that the Forbidden Zone had nothing to do with the Harbinger's disappearance. That should be clear now that you've spoken to Fremine.
But we've already uncovered that there's something wrong with the infirmary, and we've answered a bunch of questions that you threw at us. Isn't it about time that you answer our last question in return?
You make a compelling case. Do you really want to know the answer that badly?
Yeah, Paimon really wants to know.
Even if the truth may not be pleasant? Follow me.
There's a hidden door here? And a whole basement behind it? Huh. You're pretty good at hiding stuff, Risley.
It seems you've forgotten just what kind of place the Fortress of Meripede is.
Chivalry will...
Stand on the central plate.
Wait, is there a secret mechanism or... Whoa! So, this is the Forbidden Zone? Honestly, for a place so well hidden, Paimon sure doesn't see anything special. What a huge door!
There are 3 such isolation gates in total. Generally speaking, I'm the only one who's allowed to go inside, hence the name Forbidden Zone. Am I correct to assume you're going to run on back and tell your little Fatui friends everything?
Well, Paimon wasn't thinking of keeping anything from them.
Well, I'd advise you wait until you've seen the whole truth of this place for yourself before deciding whether or not to tell them.
So there's a switch on the side.
Stand back.
Whoa! They all just went up one by one.
Go on, have a look. I've been interested in what lies beyond that gate ever since I assumed leadership of the Fortress of Meripede. Of course, it would be unwise to recklessly open it, but it'd also be risky and negligent to simply ignore any potential danger that could be behind it. The readings on that dashboard have not budged since the day when I first laid eyes on this place. But over the past year, the needle has crept upwards from its original position, likely because some parameter it's been tracking has changed, if only infinitesimally. Normally, I would have ignored it, but I happened to have some free time when I noticed it, so I investigated. Any guesses what the reading could be tracking? Very reasonable guesses. I've considered both of those as well. Unfortunately, our dashboard is tracking something less ordinary. The temperature should vary with weather and climate changes, so for something that rarely shifts, the water pressure is more likely. We ran a few tests to increase the pressure from the outside, but the readings didn't change at all. Later on, a few more possibilities occurred to me, such as a potential connection with the primordial sea. I began to make a few preparations based on that hypothesis. Over the past few days, the needle has moved again. With that, and the symptoms that Fremine displayed after leaving the fortress, I can now confidently conclude that the readings represent the concentration of primordial seawater in the seawater nearby.
The concentration of primordial seawater? But we're already under the sea!
And that is precisely the problem. We're at the bottom of the sea, and now we're surrounded by toxic seawater. Somehow, primordial seawater got mixed in, and the concentration is steadily rising. Yes, that's very likely.
But forget about the two of us! Not even Novelette knows where the primordial sea could be, much less where we could find and plug a leak. Oh. Oh!
Seems like you've figured it out. I believe the primordial sea lies directly beneath this sluice gate. For some reason, the primordial seawater levels have risen significantly, and it's now very close to us. The indicators are now red. Although the gate still stands, some primordial seawater has already leaked out and mixed into the sea around us. If this continues, soon it will no longer be able to hold back the primordial sea at all. Yeah, you know what the legends say. If this place falls, then everyone in Fontaine will be turned into puddles in the span of a night.
But that's just too weird! Why would the Fortress of Meripede be built right above a sluice gate for the primordial sea? Who built this place anyway?
Your expression tells me you think this might be part of a vast, complicated conspiracy. To be honest, you might find the actual answer may be exceedingly boring. It's just that the secret of the Forbidden Zone had been long forgotten by the nation before I rediscovered it with my research. There's no single founder of the Fortress of Meripede in any traditional sense. What we know about its history has been left to us by the people who used to live here. When the previous Hydro Archon Egeria ruled the land, all convicted criminals from Fontaine were exiled. The people drove the criminals away like a wolf pack chasing away the banished. The criminals received no sympathy of any kind from the people. They were exiled to the desolate seaside, where they experienced only pain, struggle, and the bone-chilling cold. Some of them began to repent. and prayed to the Hydro Archon, asking if there was still anything they could do. The Hydro Archon took pity on them and said, "You may go guard my secret, deep underneath the waves." And so, leaning on the power of the Hydro Archon, they gathered underneath the sea and began to build a fortress. They became a community down there in the deeps, and over the years helped it to grow. As the number of exiles increased, more and more people joined the community. When the first group of exiles died, they left the yet unfinished fortress to their successors. The Hydro Archon continued to lend her support, allowing the fortress and what it stood for to continue growing ever larger. Before long, this dark underwater fortress became the sinner's only home. And with that, the people here stopped referring to the fortress as a prison. They saw themselves as repenting sinners who would regain their freedom once they had sufficiently redeemed themselves. But as time went on, people also realized that the fortress was a lonely place. Once they had gotten used to life here, they could no longer feel comfortable living in the overworld. Once they had finished serving their sentences, some people left and some others chose to stay. They'd find some idle position and let their withered souls fade away with the ancient secrets of the past. After many, many centuries, few people still remember the reason for the fortress's founding. Now they just see it as an integral pillar of Fontanian society, as the place where criminals deserve to be sent. Now and again, researchers manage to break one law or another and live out their days in the fortress. I learned all this from an elderly historian. Everyone else just thought he'd made it all up.
But now you know every part of that history is true.
Indeed. It's just as the prophecy says. If this gate fails, then everyone will be dissolved into the sea. To be frank, not really. But sadly, that hasn't stopped this prophecy from proving all too accurate. Prophecies are troublesome things. Just hearing one will create the first wave of panic. Seeing signs of it will bring about the second, and actually witnessing it in real time, the third. Let's go somewhere else. I want to show you something. This is it.
Your Grace, perfect timing. The results from our last round of experiments have...
Wait, Jurier, he's not alone!
Huh? Lorvine and Jurier?
No need to panic, you two. I've already told them about our plan.
What? After you warned us not to tell a single soul about any of this?
I'm skeptical as well. Are you sure they are trustworthy?
The results speak for themselves, don't they? These two may already know more than you could ever imagine.
All right then, if Your Grace insists.
They seem harmless enough, so I'll trust them for now.
Well, how about some reintroductions? This is Jurier, one of the highest-ranked researchers from the Fontaine Research Institute. He used to work under Edwin. I trust that you've heard of Edwin?
He's the one who blew the whole institute sky high. Everyone knew he was a bit crooked in the head, but you're not a local, so I guess it's possible for you not to have heard of him.
Edwin's main areas of research were archium and gravimeters. As his assistant, Jurier is quite familiar with them as well. I hired him to be my technical consultant.
You want to blow up the fortress of Meripede?
Ah, what a lovely idea. I'm already imagining it in my head.
Gotta admit, I'm tempted as well.
Guys, focus! Focus!
That taskmaster over there is Miss Lorvine, and is also one of my technical consultants. While Jurier used to be Edwin's assistant, she used to be Jurier's assistant.
Ooh, are they together?
See, everyone keeps asking this question. Are you too sure you're not a couple and just using your work as a convenient cover?
Your Grace, I am not in a relationship with this man.
If I dated her, I'd officially be madder than Edwin.
Jeez, forget I said anything then. Follow me.
Whoa, there's another door that goes right up.
Your constant amazement makes it seem like the fortress can do anything.
But Paimon really thinks everything's super cool.
spice it up a bit. And here you go.
What a huge ship! This is also a production zone that Paimon's never seen before. What's going on?
How much do you know about Fontanian history?
Not much at all.
Well, then maybe you haven't heard the story of ancient Lemuria. To give you a quick rundown, Fontaine used to be ruled by the Lemurian dynasty. According to legend, the Lemurian king Remus came to this land after being inspired by divine revelation and found the seer Sibila, who had taken on the form of a golden bee. Taking the golden bee with him and riding on a huge ship, the Fortuna, he created his nation above the surging waves. He called his nation Lemuria and used the Fortuna to incessantly search for new tribes and islands, calling on them to join his empire.
There's a ship in this story too?
Where there's water, there'll be ships. People believe that hope can always be found at the end of a voyage.
Do you believe that too?
To a point, I think. As you've already seen, I have a whole factory's worth of labor, materials, and technology at my disposal. Certainly can't hurt to give it a try. So the moment I began to speculate that the primordial sea might lie underneath the gate, I also began this project.
Were you inspired by the legendary Fortuna?
Maybe. Fontanians need something to hold on to cope with the impending disaster. Were the workers to find out the truth behind this ship, riots would destroy the fortress faster than any catastrophe. As the fortress's administrator, I'd never make such a reckless call. All right, that's enough talking for now. I'll need another 3 cups of tea to soothe my throat. Do you have any other questions? Seems like you're good. Come on, I'll take you back. I'll leave you here for now.
Oh, thank you so much.
No worries. But don't forget, it's up to you whether or not you want to share what you just saw. What you do from here on out will likely affect those 3 as well.
Yeah, we'll put a lot of thought into it for sure.
Great. I look forward to what happens next.